We are going to build a toolkit today. This toolkit is going to be made of simple habits and simple products. So just a couple of simple habits, simple products. And this toolkit is going to be our preventative care toolkit. When we're talking about our health, we do not want to be in a position where we are reactive. We want to be very proactive in our health, our longevity, our lifespan, our health span. And it is essential that we have a toolkit. My wife and I have, I would say, an emergency preparedness kit, which we call it our oh shit bags, which if there's a crisis, we have bags that are pre-packed, ready to go. We can throw them in the vehicles and bust out of town if we have to. We do not want to treat our health in such a reactive way. And there are so many things that are within our control to extend our health span, to live a better, more robust, vibrant, happy, exciting life. But we need to have tools. We need to have habits, simple things that we can do day to day, very easy to support our health span. We know that most of the visits that people have with their physicians, their primary care doctors, I've heard numbers upwards of 80% of visits to see our primary care physician revolve around dealing with preventative conditions, preventative problems. And so we don't want to deal with the stress and the pain and the suffering of things that we don't have to. So that's where this toolkit is going to come in handy. My name is Aaron Shaw. I'm a Healthspan coach. And for the last almost 30 years, I've been in the rehab, fitness, emotional, physical health industry, if you will. And my typical clients are middle-aged or older. I'm a middle-aged guy. And all of them, and if I think quickly here, I would say all of them come to me with one goal being wanting to lose weight, wanting to feel more physically fit, wanting to feel more vibrant, more physically confident. All of them have some sort of previous injuries or current injuries, aches or pains that they're trying to overcome, and they're looking for expert guidance. And that is what I do with my coaching program, Healthspan Physio Coaching. And I focus on 5 pillars of Healthspan. These include exercise, nutrition, sleep, emotional well-being, and preventative care, which is what exactly we are going to talk about today. On the list of things that will support our health and our well-being, creating this toolkit, again, a couple of simple habits, a couple of simple products to have to support your habits, if you will. This is certainly not the hardest part of being healthy. This is like the low-hanging fruit, easy things to do, but we need to do them to extend our health span. So in the next 15 to 20 minutes, you will walk away with a couple of action items that you can start doing habit-wise, that you can start today, and also a couple of shopping ideas, if you will. And so the things that I mentioned in this episode today, I have on my website. I have a store on my website. And to be clear, I'm not sponsored by any of these products. They're just literally products that I use. And I want to make it super simple for anybody who's interested in these products to go onto my website. Everything I mentioned here, again, will be on the store. You can click the link if you're so interested in doing a little retail therapy for yourself or somebody you love, if it's a holiday, birthday, whatnot. So let's run through a list of things that should be in your toolkit, habits and items. Number 1, the first thing that should be in your preventative care. So we're talking about things that will prevent future problems. One habit, which you should absolutely have, probably the easiest thing of all habits, is a hydration goal every day. So we're talking about drinking enough water, not to be confused with soda or coffee or tea. We're talking H2O, talking about consuming water to support your basic bodily functions. It supports your energy level. It prevents, kidney stones. It prevents fatigue. And there isn't really any, chemical reaction in your body that doesn't need water in some way or another. The goal, so here's the number that I want you to think about when it comes to hydration. You want to have half of your body weight in ounces of water per day. So if you weigh 150 pounds, then you want to have 75 ounces, you want to shoot for a goal of 75 ounces of water in a day. It is super important, and arguably for 99.9% of the people should be a very attainable goal, although the days get away from us. And again, if we're not in the habit of consuming water, it can be kind of challenging, but aim for half of your body weight in ounces of water per day. It regulates your body temperature, lubricates joints. So if you have any joint aches or pains, or tendon aches and pains, a very simple simple way to, possibly alleviate some of that is to stay well hydrated. We need water for our digestion, to absorb some nutrients. So also, hydration is going to affect our athletic performance. So if you are out on a warm day, or if you're doing some pretty vigorous activity, running, cycling, hiking, whatever it is, even if you lose just 2% of body weight in fluid, it can have a serious impact on your physical performance, endurance, strength. And water is related to your cognitive health, your ability to focus and concentrate on tasks. So if you've ever been dehydrated, you may, and this happens to all of us. I've been dehydrated before, for sure. Headaches is one thing that kind of comes along. If I get this headache and you're dehydrated, if you have a headache, realize you haven't consumed enough water today, you have a nice big glass or two of water and you start to feel better, telltale sign. So one thing you can also think about with water is adding electrolytes. I'm a huge fan of electrolyte drinks. An infinite number of brands out there where you can, plop it into your water. You can make your own. I've actually done a previous episode of Healthspan Digest podcast on creating your own electrolyte drink. So I actually create my own drink. I have that every morning. And for me, that is a water bottle with mostly water, with a splash of orange juice and some salt, just table salt, and mix that up, and you've got yourself for me anyhow, it's a nice kickstart to my hydration, because I typically, several days per week, I'll exercise first thing in the morning and haven't been consuming water overnight because I'm sleeping. So the electrolyte sort of boost in the morning is a great thing to do in addition to hydration. So the action with this would be to set reminders or to have some way of tracking your hydration through the day so you meet your goals. One tool, again, this would be something that you could purchase. There's several out there, but this would be a water bottle that has a marker of not only the volume of fluid, but also time markers throughout the day. And I think this is a great way to start your day, fill up the water bottle, and you see that by 9 a.m., you should be at a certain level of consumption of water, by 11 a.m., by 1 p.m. And so you have kind of this cadence. It kind of keeps you on point to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. You're preventing future problems of being dehydrated. The easiest thing in the world for you to do would be to stay hydrated. That is preventative medicine. Number two, the second thing you can have in this toolkit, aside from your full bottle of water with time markers on it, second thing you can do is focus on your mobility, maintaining flexibility, maintaining mobility. We know that, and this is probably painfully obvious, that joint stiffness is a sign of lack of mobility. And when you have stiff joints, it can lead to back pain. It can lead to poor posture. It can be this cascade of problems when you don't move very well. And this is exceptionally hard these days, where most of us are I would say most of us are sitting in front of a computer, staring down at our smartphones when we're not sitting at a computer, or we're not sitting on the couch watching Netflix. And then when we're not curled up in the fetal position when we're sleeping. So we spend so much of our time these days curled up into a ball that we get tight. And so, hip flexors get tight. And in addition to hip flexors being tight, that can add strain to your back, to your neck. It can cause headaches. All of these things are basically the curse of modern living. So what we need to do is go out of our way to prevent back pain, to prevent neck pain, to prevent the headaches that can be associated with this, to prevent the joint aches and pains from lack of mobility. So the action you can take is every day, splurge and make it 10 minutes of dynamic movement every single day. This doesn't necessarily mean going to the gym and getting in a big workout if you don't have time for that, but stand up from your desk, do a walking lunge, do some standing butt kickers. If you have the space to do it, do some gentle yoga moves like a downward dog or something to change the position that we spend so much of our time in. It is going to be preventing joint problems, preventing aches and pains, preventing the aches and pains that lead to lack of activity because you're too uncomfortable and you start falling down this cliff of inactivity and then have all the consequences from that. The best thing that I could recommend for the idea of joint mobility and really kind of overall tissue health in this preventative care toolbox would be foam rolling, would be some sort of tissue work that you can do. And I would say if you took 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes in the middle of your day at noon, maybe right before you eat your lunch or right after you eat your lunch, if you get down on the floor with a foam roller for 5 minutes, I guarantee you will finish and feel better for doing it. You will literally feel better, physically better, emotionally better. It'll be good to kind of change your body around. You're going to get the benefits of some tissue work, especially if you've had like stagnant sitting there, sitting in the same position for pretty much all day or the first half of the day. 5 minutes. That movement break is going to be huge. Another part of this preventative care toolkit related to movement would be to take a movement break every 45 minutes or so during the day. So if you do sit down, if you're at a desk where you're sitting down all day, get up and just go for a 3-minute walk around every 45 minutes. It is going to be a huge investment in your comfort and therefore your physical performance. There are a million types of foam rollers out there. I personally like the ones that have multiple, tools. So sort of some soft tissue tools. Again, I have this on my website. There's a million of them out there. I have favorites, but the idea is at least have something where you're going to give yourself basically a massage. You're massaging this tissue, and that always feels good. And when you're doing foam rollers and some of this tissue work or some of these stress balls, you can kind of like roll into different muscles. You are controlling the tension. It's not like you go to see a masseuse who maybe gets a little bit too aggressive and can really make you super sore. So you can control this. So a foam roller, some soft tissue work, resistance bands would also be a good thing to kind of have in this toolkit as well for some mobility and stretching. Essential. The third part, the third tool, if you will, for your preventative care toolbox would be thinking about nutrition. So the role of nutritional support, having balanced meals. And this is a whole lot to unpack when it comes to nutrition. I've done a couple episodes on nutrition, various aspects of it. It is intense. It is vast, the vast topics of nutrition. And yes, everybody's different, but it is clear, and I'm sure that 99% of people know when they're eating food that is nutritionally healthy and supportive of their health, supportive of your immune system, supportive of your tissue, supportive of your blood sugar and your energy levels. And we know when we're eating garbage. One of the best tools you have at your disposal is how you fuel your body. And this is with balanced nutrition, thoughtful macros. So we're thinking along the lines of maybe 50% being carbohydrates, 25% being protein, 25% being fat. Again, that's a wide swath. Everybody's different depending on your goals for weight management or performance. That may change, but generally speaking, eating whole foods, things that are not overly processed, things that are definitely not fried. If you're frying, if you're having fried food every day, you are compromising your health. So I would advise you to, as you can, taper off that a little bit, take holidays from consuming the food that is not supporting your health. So think whole foods, rich in nutrients, colorful vegetables, a plate that has some lean protein, some healthy fats, and again, just like tons of veggies. So I can tell you that of all the people that have trouble being overweight, they are struggling with weight management, but it's not because they're eating. The cause isn't from eating too many vegetables. Put it that way. So healthy vegetables, great nutrients in veggies, obviously. So if you have a hard time with fruits and veggies and even like the balance of macronutrients for nutrition, I would advocate smoothies. So I am a smoothie lover. I have a smoothie every single day, and I think you could call it, a protein smoothie because I do put whey protein powder in it. But it's not meant to be protein only. I'm not just trying to consume as much protein as I can in my diet. I think it's a whole other excessive thing that most people do is consume far too much protein. But in my smoothie is whey protein. So I have 20 grams of protein in that, I think, 22 grams, half a frozen banana, handful of frozen blueberries, a little bit of almond butter, and oat milk. think it's all the things. And if I haven't already consumed it, I'll also put in some creatine because I have creatine every single day. So it is I take all that stuff, I throw it in my blender, zip it up, and it's like this perfect flavor for me. But I think and nutritional profile for me and for the demands that I have for myself physically. So for you, having having a blender that you can, basically experiment with what you're putting in there, whether you're a fruit person or a veggie person, both are great, both have huge benefits. But I think having a simple way in our busy life that you can zip up something in a blender, take it with you, take it on the road, and drive past the fast food joints for your breakfast or lunch or whatnot, and have a smoothie that is handmade, so to speak, machine made, but hand-picked items that meet your goals, meet your nutrition goals. In addition to having a blender with healthy things to put in it, another part of this nutritional toolbox would be a food journal, or just some sort of journal that you can kind of track how you are feeling day to day, even like an energy level day to day, where you can start to correlate what you're putting in your mouth to eat and how your energy level is. So, I mean, there's a million different food journals out there, whether it's literally a paperback journal, or if you're really ambitious, there are plenty of apps out there that you can track every little thing that you eat, which is great. I think it's totally awesome. I also find it very challenging. And of all the clients that I work with, there's only a couple that do it consistently, which I think is fine. But even if you do it intermittently and almost, if they have free trials for one of these apps, I would say doing a free trial for a week, track what you eat for a week. And once your free trial is done, forget about it. But take that data, that information on your nutrition. This is your food journal, which is essentially your food journal, and correlate that with how you're feeling. So, is your smoothie working for you? Are you feeling energetic about it? Is it not working for you? Find out. Nutritional support, has to be part of your toolkit, your toolbox. So specifically, as far as making sure you have literal items, make sure you have a really good blender, which I also have in my store, but have a good blender, something that can zip up frozen, for me, my frozen bananas and frozen blueberries and ice cubes, and a journal, some sort of way to track your journal. It is going to be the best investment of your fueling, of your nutrition. The next component of your preventative care toolkit is based around sleep hygiene. Sleep is it is a legal drug, if you will, for improving performance. It is improving literal like cognitive health, memory. It is when your body recovers from the wear and tear of the day. Your immune system requires you to sleep. And I hope you are not a person who champions being able to sleep only 4 hours a night and feeling great, because it is foolish. It is foolish. The best athletes in the world are also, professional sleepers. They professionally know how to recover from the wear and tear of their, physical demands and the cognitive demands, mental attention demands of their sport, of their craft, if you will. And it is based upon sleep. So if you don't want to get sick, sleep better. If you want to lose weight, sleep better. If you want to improve cognitive function, sleep better. If you want to have less pain so your body can recover from the wear and tear of the day, sleep better. If you want to recover from stress, sleep better. And on and on. I can kind of beat this dead horse here. So the component of your toolkit here is creating, the action item here would be creating a bedtime routine that starts hours before you go to bed, or at least an hour before you go to bed. Get your face away from the screen. Your temperature of your bedroom is cool. So we're talking like 66, 68 degrees, cooler than what a lot of people think, but that is a sweet spot for your body to sleep well. And you're setting consistent sleep and wake times. Consistent time to go to bed, a consistent time to wake up, 7 days a week. That's a great, again, I've done other episodes that are on sleep, but I think that's in a nutshell, that's a great way to have the habit, in this toolbox, if you will, your habit of sleep hygiene, for things to aid in your sleep. I have become a fan over the past year or a couple of years, I suppose, of sleep spray. So there's this calming spray, I guess you call it like pillow spray, that can, yeah, I mean, it's like lightly fragrant, but it's the intent is, some of them have even like lavender, magnesium, and or whatnot, but it's calming. It's basically like an olfactory, a smelling way of calming. And for me, it's great. I love the smell of it. It's really subtle. At this point, it kind of triggers my brain to say, "Oh, it's time to wind down," because there's this really pretty, calming smell, if you will, if there's such thing as a calming smell. And other thing I would consider is a white noise machine. So I love mine. No matter what the weather actually is outside, it is always raining, or it always sounds like rain in our bedroom. So I'm a fan of that white noise. So if there's anything, noise wise, especially this is super valuable if you're traveling in a hotel or something, but having just like this constant theme of white noise. So whether it's rain, whether it's just this sort of staticky sound, which some people like, or, a babbling brook or ocean waves, whatever it is, I love having a noise machine. And at this point, I suppose the bad news may be if I don't have a noise machine, that I don't have noise, some sort of like white noise, I don't sleep as well. So I would consider the sleep spray, a white noise machine. I mean, extra credit if you can have blackout curtains, like totally make your room black. That is going to be, or dark is going to be a great way for you to sleep well. So put those in your toolkit and in your little toolbox. The last component that I'll talk about for this toolkit and to be clear, this toolkit, I could go on and on for days and weeks, but this is maybe the essential or the low hanging fruit of this toolkit. The last component of this toolkit is going to be based upon stress management. So there are very real physiological consequences to being stressed out. If your body's in this, fight or flight, heightened sense of alertness and stress, it can kill you. Chronic diseases, heart disease, diabetes, things that are definitely related to being under chronic stress, chronic anxiety. And to speak, freely, as I've said in some of my other episodes, I feel like I'm kind of an anxious person baseline, so I'm very well aware of kind of being amped up. So working on stress, having something in your toolkit that is readily available that you can act upon to diminish your stress is super valuable for your health span. Options for you include practicing mindfulness or meditation, even 5 or 10 minutes. I did not know, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a person who meditates per se, but I do use the Calm app, and it is a great way for 7 minutes during the day or 7 minutes in the evening to just take pause, sit down, close your eyes for a second. I open up the app, and I'm just guided through a brief exercise in controlling my breathing, getting my head on right, if you will. And it only takes a couple of minutes, but it is a huge, for a short amount of time. This tool has a long tail. So it has a long positive response, positive effects for a short-term time investment. So I would say the Calm app, and I know there's a bunch of other apps out there. So find one that works for you. Again, I use Calm. I have no affiliation with them other than I'm a fanboy of the app. So get an app that will help you manage your stress, give you a little bit of guidance, a little support through that, process. Make that a habit. Don't wait until your stressful situation turns into a stressful day, turns into a stressful week, turns into a stressful month. You're playing with fire, and there's no need to do that. There's enough stress in life for sure. There's plenty of things you'd be kind of worried about, but you are in control of this preventative care. It's you taking care of yourself. In addition to using an app, I am a fan of, this would be a skill to have in your toolkit, would be breathing. So there's this breathing technique called box breathing, and you can practice this here. So you can feel free to pause after I explain it and give it a go if you're not familiar with it already. But it is a 4-second slow inhale through your nose. So you're slowly inhaling through your nose for a count of 4 seconds. Once your lungs are full, you hold your breath. Full lungs, you hold your breath for 4 seconds. You slowly exhale through your mouth for 4 seconds. And then once all of the air is exhaled, you hold that for 4 seconds. And you repeat that. Yes. You repeat that 4 times. So it's 4 times. So it's gradual inhale, pause, gradual exhale, pause, and repeat that 4 times. And there's been research on this, and is a great way to quiet and control. And again, you can use this. You don't have to wait until you're in a panic mode to use this, because it is preventative medicine. If you literally get in the habit of going through that process, which you can math it out, it does not take very long. A couple of minutes, you are worth the investment of a couple of minutes a day to reset your nervous system. Literally, reset your nervous system 2 times a day, 3 times a day. Maybe after you use the restroom, you wash your hands and you just stop, take a breath, go through the box breathing. It resets things. Your nervous system and all the chemical reactions that happened, as a result of your, heightened sense of alertness and stress level and whatnot, will love you for it. You are setting yourself up for a healthier, I'll say, one is it's setting yourself up for great health, but also it's peace of mind. Being stressed, by definition sucks. Nobody wants to be stressed out and anxious. So this is a stress killer. It's an anxiety killer. So it's box breathing. In addition, for stress, walk outside briskly. Extra credit if you do it briskly, but at least get outside, get some sun on your face. If it's raining out, say la vie, put a raincoat on, get outside. It is, again, one of the many things that have been shown absolutely with research, with evidence, that there is a positive effect for being outside, away from a screen, in nature. It's beautiful. It's perfect. Those are tools that would be, action-based tools for this toolbox to deal with stress. Now, for maybe for your retail therapy part of dealing with stress, which I know that many people, and probably myself on occasion, one way of dealing with stress is like, well, I feel like I want to buy something. I would advise a desktop timer. So a timer that you can put on your desk to remind you to stop, to take a break, to take that walk, to, set it for, if you're in the middle of a project and you're kind of running through things, be like, hey, I'm going to set my timer for 1 hour. I'm going to push through this next hour, and then I'm going to stop and I'm going to do my box breathing, or I'm going to stop and I'm going to do foam rolling. Having a timer that is your guide to changing your behavior, so we don't get kind of sucked into our work, or even worse yet, sucked into social media or sucked into distractions. It is a nice, simple, low-tech way to keep yourself on point and really help us when we don't have the greatest of discipline. So you can't have A+ discipline 24/7. Being disciplined is an energy suck, and it utilizes energy to kind of stay disciplined sometimes. And so when you have a timer, when you have a little external support, it can help you kind of like get back on point as you need to. So desktop timer, super important for stress management. And as I've said in previous, I maybe actually already said it here, I talked about a food journal earlier, but I am an advocate of journaling, and it is great stress relief, great mental clarity, and it doesn't take a bunch of time. You can get, there's a million different journal types out there, but there's one brand that I like in particular, which is, again, is in my website store, but there's anything. You use anything. You can use a Word document, on your computer if you want. It doesn't really matter, but the goal would be to have a safe place where you can express yourself freely. It is so powerful to get some things off of your chest. You don't ever have to show anybody. Obviously, that's kind of part of the deal of having a journal, but it's really important. And I think it's even becomes more valuable when you take the time to look back at things you've written. Right? For me personally, when I've been through very stressful situations and I journal about it, and again, this journaling takes 3 to 4 minutes. And then days, weeks, and months later, I look back on the kind of reviewing, the past few months, and I oftentimes will barely remember a stressful situation. And what that allows me to do is recognize that in the moment, any given moment, if I am stressed about something, I can take pause and say, hey, this situation, for as stressed as I feel in this exact second, is not really much different than the dozens of other stressful situations or stressful times that I felt in the past that I've documented and look back on and realize, oh, that wasn't such a big deal, or the sun came up the next day and I'm still alive and I'm still plugging along. So this too shall pass. Journaling is important. It's a great tool. It's a great tool to have in your toolkit. So what are the tools? We have hydration. So half of your body weight in ounces is a great goal. Get a water bottle that has a timeline and volume thing kind of like written into the side of it, so you can like track it throughout the day so you don't get behind. Get some resistance bands for moving your body. Get the foam roller toolkit for some soft tissue love. It's a great way to stay mobile. It's a great way to get blood flow to your tissue. It's a great way to prevent the aches and pains, joint aches and pains, tissue aches and pains from whatever activity that you're doing. Get a high quality blender to make a perfect smoothie instead of eating junk food and garbage food. So get a blender. For sleep, for that beautiful time, in any 24-hour period that we should be letting our body recover, kind of shutting things down. Think about a sleep spray. Think about a white noise machine. Make your room super dark and cool every single night. Have good habits to shut get your face away from the screen, any sort of screens at least an hour before bed, and a desktop timer where you can, it's going to do so much, having an awareness of time, not obsessively, but where you can shut things down for 30 minutes of getting through your emails and then be done with it because the timer went off, or set it for 45 minutes and say in 45 minutes, I'm going to get on the floor and do some foam rolling. And it keeps you honest and it can kind of keep you productive through the day without being stressed out, and also without looking back and thinking, oh my gosh, the day is gone. I haven't stood up. I haven't had any water. I'm sore. I'm achy. I'm grumpy. I'm, haven't eaten enough. It's as simple as a timer. That's literally all it takes. The one thing you can do today to extend your health span and just frankly to feel better is to invest the time, the thought, and maybe a few bucks into a preventative care toolkit. It is, of all the things to maintain your health, to live a longer, vibrant life, the things that I just listed are the easiest, arguably the easiest of things. So we're not talking about weighing your nutrition. We're not talking about exercising at the gym 7 days a week. We're not talking about crazy over the top stuff. This is essentially the basics of being baseline healthy. Sleeping well, good hydration, good nutrition, moving your body. If you can do that stuff, you are well over 90% of the way to being, reaching your potential. The rest of it is the details. But please, the one thing you can do today, start building your toolkit. If you know somebody who's maybe haphazard or all over the place and doesn't know where to start, please share this episode with them. Give them some tips. Buy them a journal, perhaps, or a desktop timer, or a water bottle that tracks their fluid intake. Again, all of these things I have in my store, but you can find these things anywhere. Most importantly, invest in yourself. So my passion, my drive is everything related to health span. So this is the length of time within our lifespan that we are healthy, active, and vibrant, and ideally disease-free, at least free from the diseases and conditions and debilitating things that we have control over. And we have control over so much more than what the typical person really thinks, what many people really think. And it is up to you to take care of you. And if you have a hard time taking care of you, you can reach out to me. I love working with people who just need a little bit of guidance and want some support. That is what I do for a living. All my contact information is related to this episode. And as always, I appreciate your time, attention. Build your toolkit. You are worth it.